Welcome to Flipping Out with your host, Paul Lizell, your leader in virtual wholesaling and investing in today's real estate market. Each week, he will be joined by some of the biggest players in the real estate space who will share their experiences, knowledge, insight, and tips for making it big in the industry. And now, here's your host, Paul Lizell.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in to this episode of Flipping Out, a virtual real estate investing podcast that will focus on the number one hottest topic of real estate investing today, virtual wholesaling. I'm your host, Paul Lizell, the undisputed pioneer of virtual wholesaling with over 10 years experience buying and selling real estate all across the U.S. I've purchased properties in 42 out of the 50 states and will continue to dive into new markets each and every year. We use cutting-edge technology mixed with some old-school ninja sales tactics to buy and sell real estate with a focus on small-town America. How would you like to have a full or part-time business that allows you to create a flexible work schedule around your busy lifestyle? Would you like to earn between $60,000 and $500,000 annually working from the comfort of your own home? If so, then virtual wholesaling may be the business for you. Contact us at reauctionacademy.com and find out how to get a jump start on building a cash flowing machine without the headaches of dealing with contractors and homeowners. With an investment starting as low as $7,000, you can be well on your way to living the virtual investing lifestyle of your choosing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode here of Flipping Out. It's your host, Paul Lizell. What I want to talk about in this episode is going to be a solo cast, not really a rant, but want to get into 2020, what to look for, what you guys should be looking to do here in 2020, and what objectives you should have. Because we're in a slightly changing market, depending on where you are in the country, right? Where you're investing. Some markets are still red hot. Actually, the majority of them are still pretty much red hot. You're still probably seeing low inventory amounts. We're seeing some slight change in that now. We're starting to see a little bit higher inventory levels in across the country when we're looking at auctions, right? So what we've seen is anywhere from 3,100 last year to say 3,900 on average for an auction platform like Zome to have, to now they've been consistently for the past month or so around 4,200 homes that are up for auction. So their inventory is up a little bit, which tells you you're starting to get a little uptick potentially in foreclosure action here. Again, everything's delayed, right? So sometimes this could have been from 9 months ago if there was an uptick in foreclosure, and we're seeing it there 9 or 12 months ago, and we're finally seeing it now. And then foreclosure levels start to drop a little bit, so you could see a little drop down the road here. So that could happen. Keep your eye on that, because I believe that did happen last year in 2019. But for what our goal is anyway, right? So I'm gonna talk a little bit about what we're planning to do. We're going to maximize our deals, because obviously we did less deal flow last year than we did the year before, partly because I added a lot of rentals last year. Not a lot, but I added, say, 10 units as rentals last year, continuing to add a few more here too this year. Not sure how many I'm going to increase it to, but that is something we're definitely looking to continue to get to. With rates being low, I think it's a great long-term plan to have. I'm 46 years old, so, retirement in 20, 30 years, whatever it is, I end up retiring if I fully retire, is something to look at. So I need to be able to get some cash flow properties that are going to help fund my retirement, because Social Security is not going to be there for us, I'm sure. And, we're going to have inflation, we're going to have higher costs on everything. So I'm going to need to be able to make sure I have enough money to retire on, besides our life insurance policy and retirement accounts, so on and so forth there. So just is what we're looking to do in 2020 here with lower numbers is increase potentially the number of fix and flips or maximize our properties. So let's say we get 30 properties here over the first half of the season or the first half of the year, and we may end up doing 10 of those as fix and flips, whereas in the past we might have done 2 or 3, maybe 5 at the most. So we're probably going to increase that by a bit, and potentially another 5 or 10 of those as wholesale deals. When I say fix and flip, I'm talking about a little larger scale. And obviously wholesale, you're just doing paint, carpet, cleanup, hopefully no bathroom majors thing, maybe new vanity, faucets, toilets, so on and so forth, but hopefully you don't have to redo the shower and everything. So we're trying to do more of those, and we're going to try to maximize our profits instead of just wholesaling for 5, 10, 15, 20,000. Maybe we're going to try to get 30, 40, 50, 60 fixing and flipping these properties. And when the deal comes up, that's the right deal, that we could potentially buy, renovate, and pull cash out of the rental and be whole, and maybe even pull more cash out. Like we have a couple potential deals. One of them I have here in Telford. I'll be in it for 130. I could probably pull 150 to 175 out of it and keep it as a cash flow rental. It'll probably be a 30 year, which is totally fine by me. I don't care if I'm getting money out of it. So I'm getting current cash in. And if it still cash flows monthly, I don't care if it takes 30 years, honestly, to pay off, because I've got nothing, no skin in the game, right? I've got nothing into it. It's all pure profit at that point. The return is infinite. So the few that we get like that, we're probably going to hang on to. And maybe we hang on them for 5 or 10 years or 20 or forever. Who knows? I just have regrets when I look back to 2008, 2009, 10, 11 timeframe, when I was wholesaling a ton of properties that I picked up for 80, 75, 85, 90, 100, 110. Some of these properties are selling for 250, 275, 300, 350, 375 now, that if I would have just held on them for a period, right? Let's just say it's a decade, 10 years. No, you're going to have some cost obviously in that, but you should be able to cash flow those properties and then some, and then turn around, do a minor fix up, resell. Could have been some huge profits made on that. And again, that's off the 2008 crisis. I don't see that we're going to have a 2008 crisis like that. I don't see a repeat of the financial crisis of 2008 is basically what I'm telling you here. So we'll have a downturn. There will definitely be a downturn, recession. Question is, how hard will we hit? How hard will the dollar get hit? That's my big worry. What's the dollar going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years? Is it really going to crash? That's why I'm doing things like cryptocurrency. I'm putting a bit of money in Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash, and other cryptos as well. Plenty of other ones. There's some good coins and there's some really crappy coins out there. So do your due diligence when you're looking at these cryptocurrencies. But they are definitely our future. All the world's governments are laying out plans for them to be able to use them, to make it simpler, to have wallets that you don't have to have 20 keywords to remember or have written down somewhere. It's going to be easier, guys. In the next 2-3 years, it's going to be much easier. So even our parents, grandparents will be able to do it very easily and not have any issues here. So this is something that's really important to keep in mind when you're thinking about the future. Alternative investments, cryptocurrencies, obviously something I recommend. Not financial advice, talk to a financial advisor if you want. Most of them honestly don't like cryptocurrencies because they know nothing about them and they can't make money off them. So keep that in mind when you're talking to them. Do your own due diligence on them. They're built off blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is our future on everything. Blockchain will be used by the counties when they're recording deeds to stop this people from being able to record fake deeds against properties. It's going to change everything. Blockchain technology will change everything. Heck, you're going to have on your phone, you're going to have a social credit score on you. So be careful what you post on Facebook or Facebook. Some people like to call it. It's Facebook to me. Twitter, any of these different things. Be careful what you put on there. Keep it clean, keep it decent, because you're going to have a social credit score. They're already doing this in China, right? So it's only a matter of time before they do it here. Read the book, 1984. We're living it. We're heading into that direction. That's where we're going. So just know that. Anyway, enough of my little rant on that. Let's get back to real estate here. What I see for 2020, I see it as still a growing year. Again, because inventory is lower. And as long as inventory is low, this is basic macroeconomics, right? When you have supply down or flat, but demand obviously still up, you're going to have prices going up. As soon as that demand drops a little bit and it hits that supply curve, obviously everything will change at that point. And it will have a decrease in prices. Or if something hit the 10-year treasury bond and the rates went up, obviously that would throw us into a big downturn as well, because Right now, basically, we're living off cheap money, right? Money is cheap. It's the heroin for us right now. It's what's keeping this whole market going. It's what's keeping the stock market going up. It's what's making the real estate market go up. No bones about it, right? This is just based off cheap money. And cheap money can't last forever. I remember growing up in the 70s, really, I remember a little bit of the late 70s and early 80s of 18%, 21% interest rates. I mean, they were crazy. Mortgages were insane. Housing was really cheap then, right? I mean, you were picking up houses for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000. Now houses are nowhere near that, right? Your median house price, depending on where you are, is 250, 275. You're in California, you're probably more like 650. So that's something to keep in mind as well, right? So if rates increase, real estate's going to take a major hit, major hit, if it's a quick increase, right? If you just have a slow, gradual increase, yeah, you'll have demand just starting to edge down. But I see 2020 as being overall pretty solid year. It's going to be an election year, right? So they're going to do everything they can to keep the economy going, pumping. The Federal Reserve is going to continue pumping money and keeping these banks afloat like they've been doing it with the overnight repos. You see they're doing $300-400 billion a night to keep these banks solvent. So the banks aren't solvent without this. Keep that in mind too. So we could have a banking liquidity crisis here at any point, but they're going to try to keep it going. They'll try to keep this Ponzi scheme going as long as they can till they get the cryptocurrencies up and operational and people comfortable with them. And then they could do a shift out into the cryptocurrency world as basically like a basket of currencies. Some will back currencies, some will back the dollar, some will back the euro, some will back a basket of currencies, some will be backed by gold, silver, some will be backed by companies, and Bitcoin is backed by the fact that there's only 21 million Bitcoin able to be mined. 4 million were permanently lost, so there's 17 million Bitcoin able to be getting out there. So there's going to be a supply and demand with that. And Bitcoin is the original one, the granddaddy of them all. So it will be the one that most people, for now, I believe, will lean on. There'll be others that'll come, and eventually something will replace Bitcoin, I'm sure. That'll be bigger, better, and badder. But as for 2020, I see the real estate market being good. I see rents kind of stagnant. Like, I don't think they can increase too much more. We've hit that in many areas. We've hit that affordability index where it's becoming unaffordable. So I think we're going to hit that wall there, but the rents are up and they are good right now. And cash flowing properties has been fairly easy to do. So if you're a guy or gal who likes to acquire rentals and manage them, do it. Add more this year. It'd be a great year to add more while rates are still inexpensive. As long as you're bankable, continue to look to do that. I certainly would be doing that and picking and choosing which ones I want to do here. And maximize what you can with each deal, right? So if you can make a quick 30, 40 on a wholesale deal, but you can make 50 or 60 doing a full scale rehab, I would still say do the wholesale deal. Less risk, less money out, less time, less holding costs. Do the 30, 40, take that and move. If you can make a quick 20 on a wholesale deal, obviously take the 20, run with that one and roll into the next deal. As long as you've got a pipeline of deals. If your pipeline, if it's getting tight, right? If it's something, man, I don't know where the next deal's coming in at, then maximize everything you can, maximize what you can. And if you're new and just getting started here, maximize everything you can on each deal for now. Learn. Don't go crazy. Don't over rehab properties. Make them look nice. You can make them look nice affordably as much as you can. And hopefully you don't run into any issues and maximize your profits. Roll it into the next deal. Find the next one. And if you're new, find a mentor out there. Find somebody else who's been doing deals. Find out what contractors they use, if they have anybody they can recommend to you. But make 2020 a big year. It's going to be, I plan on it being my best year ever. We're off to a great start here with some of the things we have as far as fix and flips this year. And hopefully wholesaling will continue to grow as well. That's our hope anyway. Right now, we're going to be doing a little less wholetailing than normally. We were normally a 90%, wholesale business, 85, 90%. Now we may be a 50 to 60% wholesale business, but whatever the market does, it does. I hope it's more than that because I like wholesaling more than I like fixing and flipping. And again, if you're doing a fix and flipping or do more fixing and flipping, make sure you have a good team. It's very important to have a very strong contractor, good relationship with people. And as far as contracting is concerned, it's important that you have good lenders and lenders that will give you good terms so you can maximize your profits. That's one of the things we're doing right now. We've done a lot of business with Lending One, Lending Home, Lima One Capital. So we're getting much better rates with them, 7.75 as compared to 10 and 11% on 90% borrowing of the LTV there. So we're getting much better rates. And for you new guys, you're not going to get that. You're going to get that in 11, 12% rate with more points. But do a few, show some history, and then they will work with you and give you better deals here. They're hungry to lend. So look for that. Maximize your relationships there as far as private lenders, hard money lenders, partners, right? Maybe you have a contractor who doesn't have a ton of money, but he has enough money where he could fund the rehab. Join together with him, right? He's gonna be able to keep the costs down, split the profits, and that's much lower risk for you, right? Just keep your eye on them, right? Make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Do all your due diligence. Make sure you have spreadsheets. Make sure you have spreadsheets with what needs to be done, right? And cost breakdown. Make sure you have an agreement with them. That's an ironclad, strong agreement. As far as partnerships, so we do have that. We do a lot of joint ventures. We do partnership things. We just have a good, basic, strong agreement. Doesn't have to be 20 pages. Most of ours are 2 to 4 pages with that. That we utilize. You can get enough info in there. Just make sure everybody understands this is your responsibility. You're responsible for this. I'm responsible for this, and that. If you have all that laid out, it's going to be much easier and much better for you. All right, next, for people that market, right? They do, whether they do pay-per-click, that they're picking up properties off, not off the MLS, right? But off market properties here. Try to see what's working best for you. And our PPC is working better for people now, but it gets costly, right? And then you have people doing the postcards. So there's a couple of different theories out there. And I agree with a buddy of mine who said, now that everybody's going to PPC, it may be a great time to mail postcards, right? Because there's less people mailing postcards, and it's all about competition, right? The less people out there doing the same thing you're doing, the more deals you're going to be able to get. So yeah, you may miss out on some of those PPC deals, but you're going to be getting other deals here. So, and it may be less costly for you. So other avenues also including contacting realtors, right? You want to contact realtors, find out if they have any potential listings that need a lot of work, right? That you can pick up, that you can make, whether it's a fix and flip or even potentially a wholesale deal. So these are, you're just going to need to expand your marketing and expand what you're looking at. We're doing it. I mean, I'm buying properties from wholesalers. I haven't bought properties from wholesalers in, I can't tell you how long. It's been probably 11 years. So now I'm starting to do that. I think it's important that everybody looks at doing that, right? A lot of these wholesalers, you can get good deals. If you can take the property down, you could turn around, probably put it on the MLS and sell it for more money and make a nice spread on that. So that's something to think about too. We're doing that. We're doing that right now. We plan on doing that for the foreseeable future, especially locally in our local market here. Not as much in other markets. Other markets, we're still going to do basically what's off the MLS, bank-owned, auction properties. We're going to continue going that route. But what you're going to need to do is continue to build your network. Build your network of wholesalers. Go to your local RIA. Find out who's a wholesaler. Keep in touch with them. Contact them at least every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, once a month, whatever you decide to do. Put that on alert on your calendar so you're constantly contacting these people. It's extremely important to be able to build as many relationships as possible with realtors, with wholesalers. Take them out to lunch, take them out to coffee, just get them to know you, like you, and want to sell to you, and show them you have the funds to be able to buy or the means to be able to take properties down here. It's going to be vital for you for 2020. Have you ever felt that you hit a ceiling as a real estate investor? Or no matter how much time and money you spend on marketing, you just can't find enough deals to feed the family? You know what I'm talking about. You spend thousands of dollars per month on marketing. Then you have to drive all around town looking at properties, negotiating and talking with home sellers just to have some cancel on you at the very last minute. Do you have a steady stream of phone calls each day pushing you towards the closing the amount of properties you want to close on each month? You say that you're going to do more marketing, but now you need to hire someone to handle the dramatic increase in calls. In fact, you may even need to hire someone to go visit the houses and talk with the sellers. Or if you do it yourself, you run the risk of burning out, losing deals, and giving your hard-earned cash away to the ever-rising competition in your area for you to take a second of rest. The majority of people that we have surveyed would tell you that despite the fact that their marketing looks really good, rarely does it bring in predictable leads. What you need to add is a new lead source that fills in a gap and consistently allows you to buy more houses. You don't want to do what I did. I remember having to rely on spending thousands of dollars each month on marketing, spending half my day driving around without even getting a single bite. And when they did, they cancel on me at the last minute. I made decent money, don't get me wrong, but the constant, endless grind became unbearable to the point where I would question, is it even worth it? So what's the good news? The good news is today, things are totally different. I can buy houses anywhere in the USA without leaving the comfort of my own home. Did I mention my net profit on each deal is a lot higher now because my expenses are a lot less? Go to reoauctionacademy.com to learn how to buy houses in any market without leaving your home. I will show you real life examples on how I do it. Again, to learn more, visit reoauctionacademy.com. All right, back here with another point here. This is for new investors and where to start. So how to find deals. We already talked about that, Craigslist, talking to REO agents, talking to real estate agents in general. How to find contractors, that one we didn't hit on, but best way for people to find contractors, whether you're new or experienced, homeadvisor.com. Just put in there, put in the address, what kind of work you're looking, and you can find usually 2, 3, sometimes many as 5 different potential contractors, whether it's HVAC, electrical, plumbing, roofing, siding, windows, doors, whatever you end up doing there, flooring. So that's a great site. Another one, Craigslist. You can find people on Craigslist, especially seasonally this time of year in the winter. People, are slow landscapers, and then they look to pick up other work. You can have them do clean outs, depending on their skill level. You can have them do drywall and some other stuff for you. I use guys who are multi-skilled. A lot of these guys, trust me, know how to do a lot of different things, and you can get them at usually a pretty affordable rate too. So Craigslist is another good way to do it. We talked about banking, and the 3 different companies I use are Lending Home, Lending One, and Lima One Capital. They're all really, really good. The more experience, the more deals you do, the better deal you're going to get, the better rate you'll get, less points, so on and so forth. Now we want to get into closings and different kinds of wholesaling in the truest sense. Depending on who you talk to, they'll argue one way or another. Technically, I call it wholesaling, even though other people don't call it wholesaling. When I buy a property for $20,000, buy from the bank, resell it to somebody else that same day, back-to-back closing, I call that wholesaling. Say I picked it up for 20 and I sell it for 30. To me, that's wholesaling. Now, there's another method to do it, but you got to pay all kinds of closing costs on that, which I'll get into in a minute. First, I want to hit on the other type of wholesaling, more traditional, where it's an assignment of contract, picking up for 20, signing a contract to your end buyer for 30. You can either put that as payment on the HUD. You could do it as a consulting fee. Just put your corporate name on there. You could do it off the HUD if they're willing to do that, and then just issue a 1099 so they get that full amount written off. But that entails no closing costs for you. That's a true. So let's say you got $10,000 spread there. Just to give you an example, on a recent deal we just did, this was a HUD property, and HUD is a whole different animal. And this was in Pennsylvania. Generally across the state, transfer tax is 2%. However, there are municipalities that add more, like Philadelphia, it's 4%. I think in Pittsburgh and different areas, it could be as much as 5%. In Reading and Berks County, it's 5%. And this particular one, first one I've done in Coatesville, is 3%. So I think they charge another 1 full percent there for the city of Coatesville. So to give you an example, I picked it up for $50,000, sold it to an end buyer or a fixer and flipper for 61,000. The cost that I end up having there. So, and I did title insurance on this one because this title insurance company wouldn't let me do it without title insurance on my end. What I usually try to do is waive the title insurance on my end and have my end buyer buy the title insurance because it doesn't make sense for me to insure a deal for 5 minutes. But this particular title company didn't allow me to do that. So I had to eat $569. That's how much the title insurance costs. There's other costs with this too, and this was an HOA, so there was a $750 capital contribution fee that had to be paid. 3% transfer tax because HUD doesn't pay any, so that was $1,500 right there. And we had, of course, taxes and insurance. I also had an extension because the HOA wasn't quick enough with the paperwork, so I had to do another, I think it was $275 on that. Title search fee of $275, recording fee, so on and so forth, another like $500-$600 between recording and some other fees, water, sewer, trash. So my $11,000 wholesale fee quickly became, I believe, around $5,312 or $57, somewhere in that range there. It ate up most of it, so that really does truly eat into your costs with the back-to-back closings there. So depending on the property, depending on if it's an HOA where you have a capital contribution fee, it can really hit you. And depending on transfer tax, obviously a lot of states don't do transfer tax, like Florida does stamps. Other states do stamps and other things too, and they have other ways which they come up with a transfer fee or cost. But generally most of them are cheaper than Pennsylvania with that 2% transfer tax. So, but something to keep in mind when you're thinking about doing this here. So when you're finding a deal, I knew I had to sell this thing for at least 10,000 more than what I was picking it up for to make anything on it. Just knowing what kind of costs were going to be coming in here on the resale side. And luckily we had an 11K spread. And like I said, we got between 53 and 5,700. I don't have the figures in front of me, so I don't know for sure, but that's something to think about when you're buying these properties, whether you're doing an assignment, which you can't do with the banks. The banks will not let you assign the property. They will sometimes let you transfer out of one entity to another, but HUD won't at all. And then under any circumstances, some other banks may have some leeway. You can also put it in a trust. If you put it in a trust, transfer the ownership rights to somebody else where you basically resign as the trustee and the beneficiary, and you name a new company or a new buyer as the beneficiary. So you could do that and get around it, but a lot of end buyers are not comfortable with buying a trust. So keep that in mind too. They don't like buying a trust. They don't know what it is. They don't fully understand it. So especially if they're a newer buyer. So there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat here. Another way people do it is they'll have shell LLCs. They'll put it in LLC and try to sell it to somebody else in that LLC. Well, a lot of people don't want to buy it in that LLC. You have a lot of people who just aren't comfortable doing that. Or if they have a hard money lender, the hard money lender may not let them use that LLC. So something to think about there. I've done the shell LLC, hasn't worked out. I end up having to get rid of, discard this entity. Something to keep in mind right there with that. But that being said, back-to-back, whether you're doing a back-to-back closing or an assignment of contract, you need to find more deals out there this year because there's going to be less deals out there available than there have been in years past, even potentially less than this year too. Keep that in mind. Hopefully not, but just look at it that way, and you're going to try to maximize what you can out of every single deal this year as much as possible. All right, next point here, we're going to hit for more experienced investors, but it's going to be good for new investors as well. Very important to know. So the difference between wholetailing versus a full-scale rehab. For those of us who have been investing for a while, we've been really taking advantage of this market over the past 5, 6, 7 years, and we've been doing a lot of wholesale deals. Basically, what a wholesale deal is, it's property that doesn't need a ton of work. It needs maybe paint, carpet, maybe the kitchen cabinets are okay, but they're kind of ugly, so you paint them. Countertops are not great. Maybe you throw a piece of granite on there or new Formica cabinets on them. Granite has dropped so much, it almost doesn't pay to do Formica compared to the cost of granite. But sometimes you don't want to put granite on them because those cabinets don't look great, and it's going to look weird with granite with, mediocre cabinets. But basically you're doing that. You don't have to do too much in the bathrooms. Maybe you replace a vanity in the sink, but hopefully the tub's okay and you can clean up the tile or the tub surround. Some new flooring, whether it's carpeting, laminate flooring, vinyl flooring, whatever, or hardwood flooring, whatever you're putting there. Paint job. Sometimes it pays to do little things like new light switches. So if all the light switches are old or different colors throughout, just go to a plain, nice, white, clean light switch, new and outlets. Sometimes modernizing from the regular old light switch to the push button one. Just makes it look more modern, makes it look more fresh, and they don't cost a fortune. You can usually buy them in jumbo packs as well. Dimmers and recessed lights here or there. So those are some wholetailing things that you could do as compared to a fix and flip where you're getting on a full scale fix flip where you maybe need a roof, new siding, new windows, new doors. You need sometimes new drywall, new flooring, usually throughout, HVAC, electrical upgrade, plumbing. Those are full scale rehabs, right? So if you're looking at a property, let's say it's a property you're picking up for 100,000 and you can put 25,000 into it to wholetail it, right? Really just dress it up, clean it up, dress up the landscaping, make that look clean, painted front door and new flooring, paint it throughout, whatever other updating it needs to make it look good. And you can get 175 for it as compared to putting 50 to 75,000 into it, doing a full scale rehab, and then getting 2 to 2.25 for it, right? For me, that's usually not worth it. But in markets where you have less buyers, where people are pickier, you have to go that route because otherwise everybody's going to be looking at other properties and not looking at your unfinished product. But in this market, and I still anticipate it to be a market like this year, take advantage of wholetailing as much as possible. New investors, take advantage of wholetailing. Do not over rehab properties. The biggest mistakes I made when I first got in this business is over rehabbing, making it like my house. People don't want it to be like your house, right? Maybe some people do, but most people don't. They want it to have their own things. To do it, just update it, make it look nice and clean, like in a bathroom, subway tile, nice white subway tile looks great, right? You don't have to get into this whether it's travertine or whether you're getting into a marble, you don't want to get into the crazy stuff. Just make it clean, simple, nice, bright white, off-white colors on the walls, white trim, flat white ceiling, flat walls, semi-gloss trim, as basic as possible. So these are the best things you could possibly do, and do not go crazy with full-scale rehabbing unless you absolutely have to. If there's structural issues, I understand you're going to have to do some different stuff and you might have to re-drywall everything, right? But if you don't have to, avoid it like the plague. Think about this. It may take an additional month, 2 months even potentially, to do the full-scale rehab. So if you have a loan out there and your holding costs are, let's say, $2,000 in interest per month, plus you've got insurance costs and you've got real estate tax costs. So you could be holding $2,500 to $3,000 per month plus utilities. Don't forget utilities. So that is eating up, say, $5,000, potentially up to $5,000 per month. So if you do 2 more months, there's $10,000 profit out. So of your 50, now it's down to 40. Well, wouldn't you want to take that 25 and do the wholesale deal as compared to taking all the extra time and risk for the extra $15,000? I know I would. So like I said, unless you don't have any more deals in the pipeline and you're trying to maximize it. So that's something to consider, right? If you don't have anything coming, all right, maybe upgrade a little bit more. It'll sell quicker. You'll get a few more bucks for it. But speed is key, right? Don't leave that property sitting. Try to get those subs, if you're subbing out and GCing it yourself, in there as quickly as possible. Try to get them on a schedule. There's a way to do it as far as clean out, and then for what you schedule from there on out. If you want to find out more, reach out to me. We do have an educational program on that where we teach you how to do everything from A to Z and explain what the process is for a rehab, whether it's full scale or just wholetailing, what you do first and how you line guys up, most importantly. And usually you do want to start on the outside, right? Get the outside looking pretty good, depending on the weather, the time of year. Like the winter time, it's harder to do outside, right? You usually have to wait till late winter, early spring for that. But that's something to consider as well, right? So as far as maximizing deals, only if you have to, if you have good deal flow coming in, wholetail, relist on the MLS, get rid of it, move it, go to the next one. Unless it's a home run for you, right? Just move on to the next one. So hope you enjoyed this. Might add another segment or two here to it later in the year as we adjust and figure out what the market is doing, maybe after Q1 and then Q2 and then Q3 and Q4. I like looking at after each quarter, try to figure out what the market is doing and try to point you guys in the general right direction. What I'm seeing, what markets look good, what markets don't look good, what rates are doing. We're going to look at everything, and I'll try to give you continuous updates. So stay tuned here, keep listening. Hopefully we're going to have new broadcasts every single week here, whether it's a solo cast from me or whether I'm interviewing somebody. I'm going to interview some high level people, as you know. And like I said, I'll mix in some crypto people. Hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Thanks for listening to another episode of Flipping Out.
You've been listening to Flipping Out with Paul Lizell, the #1 success platform for virtual wholesalers. Visit our website, thevirtualinvestor.co, for more information about how you can leverage virtual wholesaling to take control of your time, enjoy financial freedom, and live life the way you've always wanted to. Join us again next time for another informative discussion right at your fingertips.